MJF suffers multiple injuries at AEW Full Gear. Plus, we have an update on MJF joining WWE. And scrapped Survivor Series War Games plans have been revealed. It's all in the Cultaholic Wrestling News right now. MJF put on quite the show at Full Gear.
What do you think of it?
It was a long match.
Yeah.
It was a long night.
Yeah.
I think it made me ill, to be honest with you. I'm old now. I can't do 78-hour AEW pay-per-views. We genuinely thought, watching that show, that because that Swerve and Hangman match had gone so the distance, that we thought, okay, maybe it's going to be a bit of an angle in the main event. They'll take a couple of minutes. No, they went up for like half an hour and still had a match, and Stone Cold MJF manages to beat Jay White and everybody else and the world. What was interesting was the press conference. I put the press conference on straight afterwards because who needs sleep anyway. MJF was just in tears during the media scrum.
It happens, Tom. You've been through a war like that. I mean, I know this from my stint in New Japan Pro Wrestling in the 1980s. You go through a big war like that, and it's just your body's so knackered. You feel it overcome with emotion, and you just have to let it out, Tom. We've all been there.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm all for showing you how you feel. And MJF overcome it with emotion, with pain. He was in an incredible amount of pain, and he described how the plan was going to be. He was going to do a big diving elbow off the top and through the announce table, Shane McMahon style. However, the announce table simply did not play ball. So instead, MJF decided, I'm just going to elbow drop you onto the floor. In doing so, he has done himself quite a mischief, among other injuries. Isn't that right, Ross?
Yeah, Wrestle Purists have the update saying, according to sources, MJF hurt his hip when performing an elbow drop to the outside and had to have his hip popped back in after the match. What? How? What?
Yeah, surely you as not only a former New Japan star, but also a former football star, you must have had it where you've had to pop your shoulder back in.
Yeah, cry like a bitch and get off the pitch.
You're a poet and you were unaware of it.
That means he should have heard his hip go ping and got out the ring, of course.
And hips don't lie.
But he was said to have been bound up his shoulder as well when taking the top rope Uranagi from Jay White, as we all saw, which he took with aplomb, by the way. MJF is not expected to miss any TV time, though, which is good news to hear because the current plan is for him to be featured in a non-wrestling capacity while healing up in time for World's End at the end of December.
So I don't think we'll see MJF having a match until World's End now, which I think is absolutely the right thing. Because he did look in a bad way. Obviously, a part of it is selling, and that's what it is. But the popping the hip out, doing your shoulder in, and also even when it's a kayfabe injury and you're favouring the other leg, you are still more likely to injure the other leg as well.
Yes,
because you're putting more pressure on it than normal.
That's probably why I forgot about the injured leg when he was doing his over the top rope cutter and his diving elbow drop to the floor.
Just keep. What do you mean? It was the adrenaline, Your Honour. What was interesting about that diving elbow that he did, Shane McMahon style, if you put a picture of it here, so you see the diving elbow here, right? And if you zoom in just beyond MJF into the crowd, zoom in a bit more, and then if you zoom in just to that sign there, you can see 50% off cultaholicshop.com in the Black Friday sale!
How did they know?
They just knew. Christmas is coming. Bublé's getting fat. Fill up your cart with Cultaholic tat. Cultaholicshop.com right now. Get yourself, the Cultaholic hoodie. It's getting cold. We'd love you to join us and stay warm at the same time, right? And you can do that with the Cultaholic hoodie for 50% off.
They are thick with 2 C's, my dogs.
You're going to have some people look at you and go, damn, you thick, when you wear a Cultaholic hoodie.
They won't think you're a wrestling fan either. They'll think you're part of a cult and they'll be scared of you.
And cults are really cool. How about a tea time mug for you to sneak that little bit of brandy tea in around Christmas time for your Auntie Belinda? Yeah. You can get one of them at 50% off as well. Pins, shirts, and a few select Barry the Sharks. We found a few in a lake somewhere.
SeaWorld.
It was a child-friendly version. It was PC World. We've got them on as well, and it's all 50% off. No discount code needed. Get yourself some Cultaholic flavored goodness for the loved one in your life at Christmas, or maybe treat yourself. Cultaholicshop.com, 50% off. MJF Jeff, now the WWE thing is looming. The bidding war of 2024.
Yeah.
What's the score, Morning Glory?
Well, House of Wrestling, who is in the know for CM Punk, but I don't know about MJF, so it's going to be interesting to see if this one is going to be true or not. He says several WWE sources believe that MJF is quietly re-signed with AEW. One higher up in the WWE source said there have been zero talks between the two sides. They further noted that the idea Friedman is set up to enter free agency imminently is a false narrative, and they believe he re-signed into 2027.
This is a completely in-his-head storyline, says one WWE source to House of Wrestling. 1,000%, as another says, another WWE source. I was told a while ago he's in a long-term deal, which is why they stopped pushing the 2024 stuff. They kind of alluded to it in the media scrum where he said, like, you know, I love this company, and as long as this man keeps paying me a lot of money, I will keep supporting this company. But they have eased off on the bidding war of 2024
But they have been keeping it alive subtly because the All-In 2024 poster does not feature MJF, when you would think normally if he was going to be there, it would do just that.
That's very true. Yeah. Maybe they're thinking he might not. He might want to.
I still believe.
It's still real to me.
I want to see an auction with MJF in the middle.
I still believe, right? Still believe in karma. What you give is what you get returned. I believe that you can't appreciate real love till you've been burned, and I believe there was something afoot with the downfall of WCW.
What do you mean?
Well, I think we need someone like a WWE legend to step in and lead an investigation into the demise of World Championship Wrestling.
Well, it's your lucky day, Don,
Wow.
because George Mizanin is going to be heading up a documentary about WCW and the death of said company.
I'd love if it was George Mizanin. It is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's company, $7 Productions. They've announced their plans to work, as described to Deadline, a docuseries investigating the mysterious demise of World Championship Wrestling. Once the biggest wrestling company in America. The docuseries is going to be made with Vice TV. Obviously, they've done Dark Side of the Ring and Tales from the Territories. I mean, admittedly, you can check out our channel for numerous videos on the downfall, the fall, the rise, the fall again of WCW. Or, you know, you could just wait for them to say Russo did it.
I mean, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one because Vice is there. Obviously, Rock's got connections with a certain fella, you know, called Vince McMahon, who might have a little say in what's said and whatnot.
I'm sure his opinion on it will be completely factual and not in any way biased.
And on top of that, I was on the X.com last week and I saw several clips of The Rock's recent appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast where he just told several lies. The torch is being passed from Hogan to Rocky finally in terms of being an absolute lying bastard.
Is the rule that you go on the Joe Rogan show and just tell lies?
Apparently so.
If so, I'm fine with it. I'll go on. I invented glue. Joe Rogan.
And I've been sniffing it ever since.
I haven't stopped this morning. I got better so quick. I'm up for seeing this. I think only because the Dark Side of the Ring documentary series and the Tales from Territory are always so well produced.
Unbelievable, yeah.
So and it introduces non-wrestling fans to the wider world.
Yeah.
Of what we talk about on a daily basis. So more on the fall of WCW, please. That'd be lovely. Survivor Series, however, is this weekend, and it might have looked. Obviously, we talked in the first video about the return of Randall Keith. But according to Better Wrestling Experience, who is an insider who's got a lot of stuff on the money, it could have looked slightly different.
John Cena was discussed to be a part of the War Games pre-Crown Jewel. All that changed. Cody takes the lead. They have full faith in the selected group, especially after selling out.
Just in case this gets cut out, I'll just say, especially after they sold out Chi-Town.
Oh dear, right, just not what I said at all. Chicago is where we're going.
I knew what you meant. What an interesting, different setup that could have been with John Cena leading the charge instead of Cody. I'm glad it's Cody.
But Cody's a full-time man, so I'm
Yeah.
glad that a full-time man's going to be taking the reins to try and fight back the power on Monday Night Raw. And Cena's largely been on SmackDown, has he not, since he came back?
He's been based on SmackDown and he's been feuding with the Bloodline. So to suddenly go, decided I'm going to go after you lads now, it just didn't make any sense at all. But unless there were plans sort of tentatively in place to bleed over into a storyline with the, obviously we had the the uniting of the bloodline and the Judgment Day on SmackDown that time. Paul Heyman shaking Rhea Ripley's hand, going, "Authorized,
Mother.
Good morning, mother." So maybe they would have bled into that. We don't know. I like the way we've gone.
Yeah, big time.
No disrespect to John Cena.
Let's build new main event men, even though Cody's already a made man.
But I'm sure that a few in our Cultaholic office have some better ideas. But that's what 9 Pitches is for tomorrow.
Yes, I'll be on the channel Wednesday. Predictions for Survivor Series Thursday. Live stream Saturday night into Sunday morning, whatever time it is in the world where you're at currently, with Adam and Andrew, I imagine.
Yes.
Then we've got What Happened At with Jack, WTF Moments with me, news from coming out of the show as well. You know, all the normal bollocks we do on a pay-per-view weekend. It's all the same.
And for the latest wrestling bollocks throughout today, you can check out cultaholic.com. Stay safe.
Up the bollocks. Oh, dear. Chi-Town.